Did you know wild boars can run up to 30 miles per hour? That kind of speed makes them a serious threat, especially when they charge down the steep hillsides of Turkey's rugged Taurus Mountains. The unforgiving terrain alone is enough to push any hunter to their limits. But the real problem goes deeper. These wild boars are wreaking havoc on crops and devastating the local ecosystem. Can this team of hunters rise to the challenge? Let's find out how they take on these lightning-fast beasts of the mountains. At the break of dawn, the familiar roar of the 2025 Ranger hunting truck echoed as it climbed the slopes of the Taurus Mountains. Once on site, John's team gathered to map out their plan for what promised to be a brutal day in the field. Everyone was fired up. This was the kind of hunt they'd been waiting for. As soon as the hounds were released, they picked up a scent and bolted into action. John moved forward. A strange, musky smell hit him. Wild boar. His instincts kicked in. He raised his rifle. Suddenly, a boar charged out of the brush. No hesitation. A single sharp crack of the rifle split the air. The shot hit dead on. Quick, clean, and final. No second chances. No more damage from that beast. Deep in the forest, John pressed on, tracking the remaining prey. After a tense stretch of searching, a massive wild boar suddenly emerged from the underbrush. Wasting no time, John locked in his aim. A sharp, icy shot rang out. The boar collapsed instantly. No chance to escape. Once again, peace was restored to this rugged land. Before John could even lower his rifle, the hounds erupted in a frenzy. Prey was near. He rushed toward the commotion. OMG! Out of nowhere, a wild beast burst from the brush, charging straight at him with insane speed. In a split second, John squeezed the trigger. Boom! The bullet met its mark, stopping the violent charge dead in its tracks. The forest next door was far from quiet. Wild beasts had invaded, vanishing into the thick canopy, using the shadows as cover. As soon as John's team set foot in the area, they sprang into action, forming a tight perimeter, blocking every possible escape route. Their mission was clear: nothing gets out. Once positions were locked down, Jay suddenly spotted a dark figure streaking past his line of sight. In a split-second reaction, he took the shot. Clean, precise, effective. Beneath the dense canopy, John suddenly spotted a wild boar lurking between the thick tree trunks. Without hesitation, his rifle was locked and ready. The shot echoed through the woods. Startled, the rest of the herd scattered in a frenzy, vanishing into the shadows, leaving only one motionless body behind. Should John pursue the fleeing beasts, or hold his ground to avoid walking into a possible ambush? What would you do? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. On the eastern edge of the forest, a wild boar suddenly broke through Jay's checkpoint. The moment it stepped into the clearing, Jay pulled the trigger. The sharp crack of the rifle sliced through the still air. One clean shot, one clean drop. Just like that, the beast was down. The sweep wrapped up smoothly, and peace, at least for now, was restored to a land that had just faced a wild storm of chaos. The battle with the beasts has momentarily calmed, bringing a fragile peace back to this land. Today's success was the result of tight coordination between the hunting team, local residents, and regional authorities. As the truck rolled down from the hillside, the shadows of dusk stretched across the landscape. Tonight, the Taurus Mountains will sleep peacefully, at least until new tracks appear.
The ferocious beasts not only tear up the land and destroy crops, but also threaten the safety of the people. Hunting wild boars is the fastest way to restore balance between nature and humanity. However, that journey is not for the faint-hearted. It demands courage, precision, and sheer bravery. Will the upcoming footage fully capture the heart-pounding action? Stay tuned until the end to witness and choose the most thrilling hunt. A spectacular aerial chase kicks off today's battle. Finn's hunting team, aboard roaring helicopters, soars through the sky, tracking the beast below. The scene beneath comes into sharp focus, revealing the devastation left by the wild boar herd, fueling the team's outrage. There they are, a group of wild boars gathered in the open field. The pilot swiftly maneuvers the helicopter to close in on the herd, clearing the way for the shooters to open fire. Gunshots ring out in rapid succession from the outside in, dropping the beasts one by one. In the blink of an eye, the ground is littered with the scattered remains of wild boars. The helicopter circles toward the nearby forest, searching for any remaining traces. Moments later, the shadows of a wild boar herd emerge beneath the trees. The pilot immediately gives chase, but the cunning boars keep changing direction, making it tough to aim. Yet, with seasoned expertise, the crew and shooters coordinate seamlessly, taking down each beast as it tries to escape. The pursuit is relentless, determined to leave no boar unscathed. On the lush green meadow, Finn's helicopter and his team swiftly close in upon spotting traces of the beasts. As soon as the prey comes into view, the group coordinates seamlessly, taking down each one in an instant. The threat on the grassy field is officially brought to an end. After the aerial battle, we move to a thrilling ambush on the rugged Manisa Hills, the territory of Nick's team. Early in the morning, the team gathers, moving in their familiar vehicle and quickly spreading out to secure pre-assigned positions. Ten minutes pass, and the sound of barking dogs echoes rapidly along the trail. A shooter immediately springs into action. A wild boar is desperately trying to escape the hunting dogs. But before it can flee, a decisive gunshot rings out. The beast collapses on the spot. Its escape attempt ended in an instant. At the same moment, on the other side of the trail, Nick holds his position, suspecting a herd of wild boars is gathering nearby. As predicted, the silhouette of the lead boar emerges. Seizing the moment, Nick pulls the trigger. Rapid gunshots echo, taking down the two largest boars in the ring. The remaining ones scatter in panic, fleeing into the bushes above. Nick and his team push deeper, tracking the remaining beasts. Suddenly, a wild boar emerges from the thick brush ahead. Without hesitation, gunshots ring out in rapid succession, and the boar collapses onto the cold ground. The action doesn't stop. Shots echo from all directions. Another threat is eliminated, restoring temporary peace to the land.
hunting wild boars to protect livestock, the never-ending battle. The ferocious beasts, armed with razor-sharp tusks, are ravaging crops, destroying farmland, and causing millions of dollars in losses for farmers. They fearlessly invade fields, lurk in dense forests, and spread terror across the region. Intense battles are unfolding to reclaim the land and protect the lives of the people. Can the hunters take down these savage creatures? Stay tuned for the thrilling moments just ahead. John's team, a group of fearless marksmen, kicked off today's hunt to restore peace to the fields. At 6 a.m., they piled into their familiar truck, heading straight for the post-harvest fields. Upon arrival, the team swiftly moved to their pre-assigned positions. 10 quiet minutes passed when a dark shadow emerged, leisurely foraging as if it owned the territory. But nothing escaped Jay's binoculars. He adjusted his stance, chose the perfect angle, and pulled the trigger. A rapid burst of gunfire echoed, and the beast collapsed before it could flee. Before they could track further, a signal erupted from the towering reeds, betraying the presence of the beast. John and his team rushed forward. Moments later, the hound's frantic barking echoed from the reeds right in front of John. He focused intently, and then the target came into his sights. A sharp gunshot rang out, dropping the beast with a single precise shot. A swift, clean, and accurate finish. At the same moment, on the eastern edge of the field, a wild boar leisurely crossed the blockade point of one of the team's marksmen, completely unaware of the ambush. As the beast drew closer, he seized the moment, took aim, and pulled the trigger. The bullet struck true, piercing its body, and the boar collapsed instantly. Another threat was eliminated, restoring peace to the field. An exhilarating ambush is underway in the dense jungle, where another team had set up their position early. Nestled in the lush undergrowth, Kevin was assigned the crucial role of blocking, observing the silhouette of their prey. 5 minutes later, gunfire erupted continuously from his teammates' direction. A wild boar shot past, weaving through the volley of bullets, desperately trying to escape. Kevin swiftly locked onto the target, tracking the boar's movements. Rapid gunshots echoed, and the animal collapsed under the hand of the professional hunter. Just a moment's hesitation, and it could have vanished into the thicket. In another corner of the forest, a marksman had sighted his target. Just as the beast was lumbering through a clearing between the bushes, he seized the opportunity and immediately opened fire. A single shot brought the animal down in an instant. From other positions, gunfire erupted simultaneously, with each corner of the forest marking another victory for the team. The hunt had protected the villagers from their lingering nightmare, promptly preventing further devastation by the monstrous creature.
With their devastating power and cunning ability to vanish into any terrain, they leave behind a haunting fear for anyone daring to enter their domain. Every hunt is a life or death gamble. Do the hunters have the courage and skill to outwit the deadly traps laid by these beasts? The breathless journey begins now. Dawn in the Black Forest. Mist still clung thick to the leaves, but the air reeked of death. The wild boars here had grown more aggressive, more numerous, and more destructive unchecked, unchallenged. Today, Caleb and his hunting crew were going to change that. Their familiar UTV came to a stop at the base of the hill. 15 minutes into the trek, the hounds started howling, pulling the whole team into the forest. Caleb climbed up the ridge, taking the high ground. Through the scope, everything below came into sharp, deadly focus. A fat, hulking boar easily over 500 pounds snuffling through the brush. The monster kept foraging, unaware it was being watched. Then suddenly it froze, as if it had sent something off. It turned sharply, bolting like a shot. That's when Caleb pulled the trigger. The team fanned out, each hunter heading to their post. Axel took a narrow game trail, hugging the hillside, his eyes constantly scanning the undergrowth for any sign of movement or tracks. Suddenly, the silence was shattered. A sharp rustling tore through the still air. From the dense brush above, a wild boar burst out panicked, massive, charging straight at us. The squad was already deep in the forest, navigating rugged trails and tracking every sign left on the damp forest floor. Mike led the way, eyes sharp as he moved through a narrow path swallowed by brambles. Then movement. That familiar silhouette emerged, the beast attempting to hide, but it was far too late. A volley of gunfire tore through the silence loud, relentless and final. Another target down. Another region freed from the grip of destruction. Millions can now breathe easier. The menace has been silenced. We shift our focus to another team, this time in the harsh, unforgiving Besidy Mountains. The weather here is brutal. Snow has begun to fall, and the wind lashes in fierce bursts, warning of an incoming whiteout storm. James' team knows they're racing against time. They move quickly, seizing every precious minute before the mountains vanish under a blanket of snow. 10 minutes in, the signal comes. James advances toward the source of the commotion, eyes scanning the slope below. Through the snow-draped trees, a hulking dark shape emerges at him. Shots crack through the icy air, sharp, deliberate. The wild boar bolts, thrashing to escape the kill zone. But no amount of fury or instinct could change its fate. Moments later, it collapses. Another beast down. Another stretch of land reclaimed from chaos. The wind cut like icy blades across the face. Yet Owen, Caleb's close companion, pressed forward with his team, pushing deeper into this frozen land. No commands were needed. Each hunter swiftly moved to their pre-planned positions. Owen selected a thorny bush near the edge of the forest, a perfect vantage point. Wide view, concealed enough for a deadly ambush. 5 long minutes passed in the bitter cold, each breath crystallizing in the air. Then suddenly, a shadow emerged from the opposite side. A wild boar, foraging quietly, unaware that hell awaited in the mountains ahead. As it stepped perfectly into the crosshairs, Owen squeezed the trigger. No chance to flee. The bullet struck with final precision faster than instinct could react. Another victory etched into the snow.
Faced with the rapid proliferation and cunning intelligence of these ferocious beasts, Germany's fields are enduring a devastating onslaught. Farmlands lie in ruins, soil is ravaged, and the safety of people and livestock is gravely threatened. The hunters are ready to step in, determined to halt this catastrophe. Will they succeed in protecting this land? Follow the gripping moments below and pick out the most impressive hunt. A breathless hunt is unfolding across the fields of Germany. The marksmen arrived early, surrounding the entire field. Not long after, at Jack's position, a wild boar suddenly charged across his line of sight. Instantly, a gunshot rang out, halting the beast's advance just in time. A perfect shot, precise to the second, leaving no chance for further destruction. The battle has officially begun. At the edge of the field, a marksman in an ambush position suddenly spotted a herd of wild boars leisurely foraging. Without hesitation, he opened fire. Each bullet fired brought down only 2 boars, while the rest managed to flee in time. Determined not to let them escape easily, he relayed their position to his team, paving the way for a fierce sweep about to unfold. Just minutes later, on Kevin's side, he swiftly intercepted a wild boar attempting to escape. The moment it burst out of the thicket, he locked onto the target and pulled the trigger. With just a single shot, he completely halted the boar's attempt to flee. Another threat was neutralized swiftly. Continuing to track the remaining traces, the sudden barking of hunting dogs signaled the beast's location. Jack and his team swiftly closed in, encircling the rice field. Venturing deeper toward the source of the sound, a wild boar abruptly charged out, attempting to escape. But Jack didn't let that happen. A shot rang out instantly, extinguishing all its hopes. The beast collapsed, no longer able to wreak havoc, restoring the field's rightful tranquility. An ambush in the forest between Kevin and the cunning beast officially began. Less than 10 minutes after settling into his hiding spot, the silhouette of a wild boar swiftly appeared in his line of sight. Without a moment's hesitation, a shot rang out the instant the beast emerged. Now, only the fallen animal lay on the grass, a clean end to a dangerous threat. At the same moment, another marksman lay in ambush, poised and ready for the prey to appear. The instant the target came into view, she pulled the trigger. A decisive shot rang out, and the beast collapsed onto the cold ground. Another threat was eliminated, successfully halting the destruction caused by these ferocious creatures on this land. Each shot fired today not only brought down the beasts, but also helped protect crops, preserve the land, and gradually restore the agricultural economy. Edge of the blazing forest, the shot that sealed the fate of the marauders. Wild boars are multiplying rapidly, ravaging farmlands and causing millions of dollars in losses for farmers. Who will stop them? It's the skilled, fearless hunters, ready to take action to reclaim crops and land for the people. Gunshots echo, and fierce confrontations unfold one after another to restore the balance between nature and humanity. Will peace be restored? Follow along to find out. A flawless ambush is unfolding, kicking off today's journey. Kevin's team assembled and moved to the location at 6 a.m. Upon arrival, armed with binoculars, they quietly advanced to their pre-assigned positions. "15 minutes passed when a familiar figure suddenly darted across screens out of sight. the boar was lumbering toward its hiding spot, unaware of the eyes tracking it. Seizing the moment as the wild boar entered his crosshairs, a decisive gunshot rang out. The boar collapsed swiftly, with no time to react or escape. In the west, Kevin and his team were tracking the traces of wild boars. Not long after, through his binoculars, Kevin spotted a boar concealed at the edge of a hillside. He swiftly pulled the trigger and the boar collapsed, unaware of what had just happened. A cold, decisive shot, putting an end to the devastation caused by these ferocious beasts. At the same time, in the vineyards of Tuscany, another team of hunters swiftly encircled the entire field. The hunting dogs fanned out, scouring the thickets to track down the wild boars. Minutes later, at the vineyard's edge, Tom received a signal from the dogs and immediately closed in. Suddenly, a wild boar burst from the underbrush. Tom quickly pulled the trigger, cutting off the prey's escape route. A timely, decisive shot, completely halting the destruction of these savage beasts before the lush rows of grapevines. A signal rang out, alerting the team to the beast's appearance in a nearby field. The team immediately sprang into action, following the lingering tracks. There it was, charging like an arrow, darting across Leon's line of sight. Rapid gunshots echoed, leaving the prey no chance to escape. It collapsed before it could slip into the bushes at the field's edge. A thrilling pursuit brought to a close. As dusk settled, the hunting team quickly packed up their gear. While crossing the field, a shooter suddenly spotted a herd of wild boars busily ravaging everything in sight. He assumed position, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. The target dropped on the spot, while the others vanished in an instant. This time, they may have escaped by luck, but next time won't be so easy. After a long, intense day, the hunting team withdrew, ready to prepare for the fierce battles ahead.
From the endless open fields to the most rugged mountain terrain, wild boars have nowhere to hide from the firepower and fearlessness of seasoned hunters. The footage sent in by hunters from across the country left us speechless, deadly accurate shots, heart-pounding pursuits, and moments of pure adrenaline. Today, get ready for some of the most intense and dramatic scenes yet, which will keep you on the edge of your seat. Come with me now, let's dive into some of the most spectacular wild boar chases ever caught on camera.
Go for it, Dan. This way, go for it.
The first location in today's journey is the grass fields of Queensland, where tall reeds towering overhead make the perfect hiding place for wild boars. Jay brings his weapon and hunting dogs, beginning the search for tracks in the vast sea of grass. Less than 10 minutes later, the barking of the dogs at the edge of the field signals the prey's location. Jay quickly moves in, following the direction of the sound. There it is, a dark silhouette blending quietly into the dense reeds. Jay carefully steps closer, tightening his grip on the rifle. A gunshot rings out just one. The prey takes the full hit, drops without a sound, and lies motionless among the reeds. Halfway across the world, as night falls over the fields of Texas, Irene is already in position by 6 p.m., quietly tracking the last traces of wild boar activity. She moves into her ambush spot, fully prepared to wait for the target. As darkness blankets the land, the prey finally begins to appear. Through her infrared scope, a massive wild boar, easily 500 pounds, is seen moving through the rice field, rooting for food. Irene doesn't hesitate. She silently adjusts her posture, locks in the shooting angle, and pulls the trigger. The gunshot tears through the night. The boar drops on the spot, motionless in the middle of the field. Farewell to Irene. We now cross the North Atlantic to set foot in the Loire Valley, the fertile heartland of France. Under the blazing red sunlight, James stands silently, eyes fixed on the torn-up soil left behind. Without a word, he quickly prepares his gear and moves into a carefully calculated position. Now, it's just a matter of waiting for the herd to return. In the distance, the cunning wild boars trudge slowly toward their den. As soon as the group crests the ridge, a gunshot rips through the stillness. The lead boar drops instantly. More shots follow in rapid succession, but the rest scatter fast, vanishing deep into the valley. Our journey doesn't end there. Next stop, Brandenburg, where it's not just open valleys, but dense, rugged forests. Thick brush creates the perfect cover for wild boars to hide. This time, Mark leads a team of hunting dogs, determined to sweep every corner of the forest, leaving the beasts no chance to escape. While tracking signs through the tangled undergrowth, the dogs suddenly bark nearby, loud and urgent. The prey is close. Mark immediately turns and scans the area. Then, without warning, a massive wild boar bursts out from the bushes. At that very moment, a gunshot rings out sharp, fast, and precise. It drops instantly. No chance to run. No time to fight back. From grassy plains to dense forests, the pursuit hasn't cooled down. This time, we head to the Urals, a cold, rugged mountain range where wild boars hide deep inside rocky caves. Luckily, the sun broke through today. The beasts began to leave their shelters, stepping out to warm themselves, and that's the perfect window. Nathan quickly geared up and climbed into the snowy mountains to begin the search. Just 15 minutes in, he spotted a massive boar over 400 pounds lying in the sun. Wasting no time, Nathan raised his rifle, steadied his aim with each breath, then pulled the trigger. A deafening shot echoed through the mountains. The herd panicked and scattered in all directions. But what had been hit? We gave chase immediately and found it motionless, lying in the cold snow. The final stop on this journey takes us deep into the frost-covered forest, cold, silent, and thick with brush-primed territory for wild boars. And just as expected, only 15 minutes later, a dark figure quietly emerged from behind a nearby thicket. The moment it stepped into view, Mike seized the chance, bringing it down instantly. To leave no room for error, he fired a follow-up shot, ending any chance of escape. At 4 a.m., while the entire city still lay wrapped in sleep, we were already deep in the western forest. This wasn't a casual stroll. This was a mission. Beneath these leafy canopies lurks an uninvited enemy, relentlessly ravaging the hard work of farmers, turning lush green fields into battlegrounds. Today, we set out to answer their silent cries, their weary sighs. Will peace ever return to them? Come with us and find out. As dawn broke, the mountainside became our first battleground. And we didn't have to wait long. At 6:15 a.m., right at the forest's edge, our target appeared exactly as predicted. My first shot struck its shoulder. It immediately changed course, trying to flee up the hillside. But the second shot gave it no chance. It collapsed, forever lying on the land it never belonged to. Mission accomplished. What do you think? Was that shot a masterpiece? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let us know. We pressed deeper along the narrow trail leading into the fields. The target appeared, completely unaware it was stepping into Death's crosshairs. The bullet struck the vital spot, ending the threat in an instant. A single shot echoed through the air, guarding the harvest and keeping the fields forever green. They think speed means escape. They're wrong. Watching it charge like a runaway car, I didn't rush. I waited for it to step into the perfect trap. Boom. Game over. The bullet stopped it dead in its tracks. Forever, at the edge of life and death. Only the fastest gets to write the final chapter. I spotted it limping from a distance. I knew this prey would be an easy catch. I gave it a warning shot. It chose to run. The second shot sent it tumbling like a puppet with its strings cut. In a life or death battle, the slowest becomes dinner. After a midday break, we moved down to the plains, where tougher, craftier targets lurk, masters of hiding who demand the teamwork of the entire hunting squad. From the watchtower, my teammate David wasn't just observing the beast, he was guarding the peace of this land. When the intruder appeared, there was no hesitation. One decisive shot pinned it down. It fell, and the threat was eliminated. No second bullet needed. One was enough. A clear message. There's no place here for destroyers like the wild boar. When the barking echoed right beside the bushes, I knew the moment had arrived. Just as planned, the strong wild boar was driven out by the pack of hunting dogs from deep within the thicket. He willingly walked straight into death's waiting arms. One clean shot ended the flawless teamwork. It looked for a place to hide, but I found a place where it would lie forever. The sun blazed down harsher and hotter than ever. There it was, a heart-pounding chase as the wild boar poured every ounce of strength into fleeing from the relentless pack of hunting dogs. The barking grew louder, signaling the target was racing straight into the trap. The moment it came into sight, I delivered the finishing bullet, ending the chase in an instant. One shot rang out, keeping the field safe and sound.
Oh.